What's good, YouTube? Awoken Raw. Back at it with another video. Before we get it started, this video is not going to be about what happens after 74 days on semen retention. I'm still going to make that video. I'm just doing a little bit more research to understand the whole process of, it's called like spermatogenesis or something like that. So I'm just doing more research, but don't worry, that video is coming. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the reason why today's men are so weak. And let's get straight to it, guys. The reason why today's men are so weak compared to, the men that came before us, the men that came, I don't know if y'all want to say like the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, 30s, 10s, all the way, I skipped 20s, the 20s, the 10s, all the way back, right? And why they say this generation of men, testosterone is at an all-time low. Now, we are living in a matrix, guys. All of this stuff, all of like society, it's all been, it's all been put in place by design, by science, math, and other things, right? So I say that by saying this, we have all these devices, these handheld devices, we have these screens, we just have so easy access to destroy ourselves. We have at one click away, one type away, one button away, and men can just indulge without having any discipline. We can just indulge and destroy ourselves and our own pleasures or whatever it is. But majority, what's being pushed in the media, social media, what's being pushed in society, what's being pushed in the music, everything. Everything is being pushed everywhere, right? It's all around you. Just like Morpheus said in the Matrix, it's all around you. But
let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The Matrix.
Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind.
the things that are just being pushed all around us. It's all by design, guys. That's why I say don't be feeling bad that you have this, that, the third, whatever problem, and you struggling. Don't, just get on the journey and fight, because it ain't gonna be easy. But as soon as you start getting on the journey and you start going on, you start going on streaks and stuff like that, and you get stronger. You might fall down on the journey. Well, you will fall down, and might. You will get knocked down. You will have your days of when you relapse and you go backwards, but you get back up, bruh. You get back up. It's a battle. It's a war over your mind. You get back up and you keep fighting to go longer and longer, and to switch your daily habits, and just to switch your lifestyle. But this is why it's all by design, bruh. Why like our men's testosterone is at its all-time low it's ever been, because we have the ability to just a click away. It's in our hands all day through the cell phones, or we have like computers, laptops, tablets. It's just right in our hands. And this is not the only way to get pleasure. You got fast food. Fast food. You just any way, anything that give you quick gratification. You know what I'm saying? But this is why our testosterone, mainly, what I like to speak on is all about preserving the seed, preserving your life force. This is why it's at an all-time low. This is why semen retention is so important. But let me say this. Let's not feel bad about how we have been manipulated into doing these low vibrational things, because and don't let the older generation or the ones that came before us try to speak down on us and say we're weak and this, that, and the third. Say, they was a lot stronger than us. Not really. You just was in a different age. You was in a different time. You wasn't in this technology age, basically. Because if you place any of the people that came before us, and I mean from 1910 to 60, from the 1960s to the 1970s, and I mean they're still here, but any person that came before us, Gen Z, just today's generation, of the younger guys, right? And you place anybody even from the 1800s or even before then, and you pick them out that generation and you set them right now to in this generation, in this modern day time, they will struggle just like the rest of us. Why? Because it's kind of like forced upon you. It's kind of like you just kind of like go with the flow because you didn't know no better. Everybody was saying how it's nothing, and it's not a bad thing, it's healthy, things of that, and you just didn't even think about it. I mean, you indulged and you got into a bad habit, and it's just all around you, and there's no escaping. But the only way you can really escape, I mean, you can't escape, but you can have better habits. You can block it off, you can avoid it, and you can just have discipline, but as I was saying, like, if you take anybody even from the 1940s to the 1930s, and you say their testosterone was so much higher, well, that's because they didn't have handheld devices right in their hand with a click away. They didn't have to worry about no sights. They just wasn't thinking about that. But I guarantee you, it was still guys out there that was still chasing women and still doing that. That's no different to what guys do today, So if you place a guy from the 1920s and you put him in 2025, he will be weak just like the rest of the men that are weak today, unless obviously he knew about the practice. But he will be weak, and if he was strong and he don't know about the practice, he will get weak. Just give him a phone. Just give him a phone, he'll be weak. He will, because it's unless you know about the practice, you are just gonna be wandering out here, just not knowing no better. You really don't know no better. You don't know what you're doing. People say it's healthy, this or that. You don't know no better until you know. You don't know nothing until you know. So, this is, we all know why today's generation has the lowest testosterone. That's what they say, right? But they don't speak on why it's at its lowest. They just say like, oh, we're just weak. They just say a whole lot of stuff about today's young generation people. They just say a lot of stuff about, especially dudes. They say a lot about us, how we're weak and all of this. No, we gotta be the strongest, I would say, because we have to deal with so much things coming at us, so much stimulus trying to get us, so much consumer like things trying to make us like buy, right? So much quick gratification that they want us to indulge in. This is all the things we have to like deal with a lot, actually, really, especially as a dude. You got to deal with a lot. You got to be disciplined 24/7, or you could be indulging and go right back into your lower self. You got to be literally conscious of what you're doing, and you have to stand firm on it. Because if not, if you ever slip up, and we all got slip up and stuff, you know, it's gonna happen. As you get more disciplined, the slip ups will start to decrease, and maybe you only have a slip up, I don't know, a couple of times out the year or whatever. Then maybe you get to the point you get so strong you don't have any slip ups. But it's that takes a great time of building on discipline. But majority of the guys that are starting out, they're gonna have their slip ups. So it's like, it is what it is. Don't allow people to just, don't even care what they think. Because I know how the older generation be talking. Yo, you guys are this. I remember back in my time. Well, back in your time, y'all didn't have cell phones with access to the internet and all these different quick instant gratification things. You back in your day, you actually had to go out and walk and go and talk and communicate. And we still do this today. We still talk and communicate. It's nothing that's never gonna change. That's just human behavior. We're always gonna communicate with others. But now we can do it from our own household. We can do it from our own comfort zone in our house, through a phone, things of that. Does that make them stronger, or does that just, I don't know. I feel like we have like a best of the both worlds, to be honest. And I feel like they only had that one world. Some of them can transition, but most of them was like, oh, back in my day, we had to actually go out and da-da-da. And yeah, you should have higher testosterone back in your day or whatever, when you didn't have all the distractions and all the things advertising towards you. You didn't have to worry about social media and all these different things, guys. Well, this is the reason why today's men have the lowest testosterone, is what they say. But you know what I see? I see today's men actually becoming the strongest in like history. That's what I see. I don't know. That's just what I see. With all the nofap and semen retention movements, like, even though these guys didn't have like the older generation, even though they didn't have like the cell phones for quick instant gratification, things of that, man, they were still going out sleeping with chicks, bruh. And maybe for the ones that couldn't get them or whatever. But even then, though, I think every dude back then was pretty much, being able to get a female and sleep with them. Them guys back then, just because they didn't have phones and things like that, they get the quick instant gratification. And maybe some of them just went over there in the corner and did their business. You know what I'm talking about. Most of them, just because they didn't have these devices, don't mean they was on semen retention. Don't mean they was holding their seed. That's not what that means. They just got it in a different way. They got it by going out, communicating or whatever, hanging out, going to places to hang out, whatever, find chick, whatever. That don't mean they was on semen retention. That don't mean they was going years without ejaculating. That don't mean they was going 2 years without ejaculating. This is why I think today's men are actually going to be some of the strongest, because we have to deal with all the distractions, and we got to deal with a lot. And for the guys that can actually deal with it, adjust, switch their daily habits, be disciplined, and not waste their power, not ejaculate, things of that, we're going to be very strong, especially in the modern day where it's being pushed 24/7. A war over your mind, all over the mind. You're gonna be one of the strongest men in history, in human history, whatever we want to call it. Especially in today's time. If you can do this in today's time, you are very strong. You don't even know. You are super strong. You are incredibly strong, bruh. If you can do this in today's time, if you can retain your seed in today's time and still have a phone, still go on the internet, that's where temptation is. But if you are strong enough to still, use the apps and do things of that, and you not out here indulging in your lower self, you're not out here ejaculating, wasting your power, you are very strong. Stronger than the ones that even came before us. I'm telling you. So don't even, it's all good though. But the ones that can't do it, the testosterone is low though. Like on the average, the testosterone is low. It is, because dudes are wasting their power at a much higher quantity, at a much higher velocity, at a much higher volume. Why I can never pronounce certain words. I don't know, but y'all know what I'm trying. Volume. Yeah, releasing at a much higher volume. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, for those guys that are doing that, yes, their testosterone is very low. Lower than the ones that came before us, of course. They're releasing too much. The guys that are releasing 3 more times out of the day, their testosterone is very low. The guys that are going even more crazy, I mean, maybe even 6 times out the day. Jesus. And doing that every day, or oh my God. They're just like skin and bone, bruh. Ouch. Oh my God, that just hurts, man. That just hurts to even think about it. My bones would just be hurting. Oh my God. I'd be like a zombie, bruh. Bruh. Oh nah. 6 times a day, bruh. Then I told y'all I seen the joint where a video. It was like a so-called doctor or something like that. I'm not sure. It was something like that, talking about you gotta release 21 times in a month. Man, get out of here, dog. Who doing that? Maybe my older self. My older self might have been doing that. But who doing that right now, 2025? Not me. 21 times in a month. Man, even if I was to go back and do something like that, I ain't doing it at that frequency. I'm not doing it like that. Maybe one time every 2 weeks if I wanted to maybe be like, I feel like indulging. I'm still not even finna go crazy. Because I still want to have some sort of, some sort of power, some sort of energy. I go maybe one time every 2 weeks. And that's for the guys that actually want to still be somewhat. But I would, if you still want to be somewhat, if you still want to like go out there and go crazy or, do your thing, I would say leave it to at least once a month, bruh. Like, don't release. I would say don't release. I would say only release like once a month, bruh. So out of the year, that's only 12 times you released. That's way better than 21 times a month, bro. But that's besides the point. This is why today's generation have the lowest testosterone. It doesn't make you the weakest in man history, that's not what that means. It's only for the guys that don't know about the practice, aren't disciplined, and they're just being destroyed by themselves. They are just self-destructing due to these devices that are all around us, due to the social media, everything being pushed, the fashion line, the clothing line. Y'all know how females be looking. Hey, I don't got no problem with it. I ain't got no problem with chicks. I like how they be dressing. It's just gonna build me up, and it's gonna make me even have to have stronger discipline. I ain't got no problem. you know, some females, the way they think is bad, but they ain't got nothing to do with how I'm gonna carry myself. It ain't got nothing to do with how you should carry yourself. Just because a female wear this or wear that or act this way or act that way, they ain't got nothing to do with you, bruh. But I ain't got no problem the way they dress, but y'all see the way they dress. I ain't got no problem with it. It ain't gonna make me no weaker. You know what I'm saying? It's only gonna make the guys that don't know about the journey just more and more weaker. And I feel bad for them, but hey, until they get on the journey and they know, they're just gonna be in that lower self. But for the guys that know, you're gonna be very strong, very strong. If you are doing this in 2025 and beyond, you are gonna be very, very strong. Like very strong. Like super strong. Like your mental. This is all a mental game, all a mental battle. It's all a mental war. You're gonna be very strong, bro. Unstoppable force through your mind. But that's all I got. That's all I got, guys. As I always say, stay on the journey, get to them long streaks, stay disciplined, stay productive, outwork everybody. Yeah, and keep retaining. I don't really got too much more to say. The 74 days video is coming shortly. I'm doing more and more research, trying to figure this thing out, trying to really understand it. And when I get a clear understanding of what's really going on, I'll make a video on it. But until then, been your boy Woken Raw. I'm out. Peace.